tips for older hunters doing walk-in hunts on the Cumberland Island National Seashore. William Hovey Smith, 2014. I'm the author of the forthcoming book, Profit, and this book will tell you how to make your fortune. Yeah! Using your own creative instincts. The Cumberland Island hunt starts at St. Mary's, Georgia at the National Seashore Welcome Center. And you get out there and you have your little pitiful pile of camping gear like I do. There it is. Yeah! And you take it and you walk it up to the gangplank and you get it on board the boat. And then you go and you start your 3-day hunt.
This is Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman. And we are at Cumberland Island getting ready for a early December deer and hog hunt. This is a muzzleloading hunt, and of course, we're going to use muzzleloaders. And for a rifle, we have the Night Rolling Block here, one of the last rifles that Tony designed. And yeah, this really is a muzzleloader. It uses a 209 primer that fits here. And we are going to go out as a backup gun with our Remington Sheriff's Model 5.5-inch 44 caliber 1858 percussion revolver, and of course the Super Walker. Now the Super Walker has already done good. Yeah, it's killed 2 deer, most recently on Ossabaw Island. And what this is the Colt Walker pistol. It shoots a 4.54 round ball, 37 grains of Hodgson's 777, and develops about 500 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. Now, unusual is that I have an AIM red dot sight on it. The pistol is nitride coated for added corrosion resistance, and it has an altered loading lever so this doesn't fall down every time the pistol fires. So this is the outfit we're going with. Now over on my right here is a Cabela's deer cart that we're going to take out, the Zeus barge that you probably already know about, as well as my Tomcat tree stand. And all of these I'm going to roll out before daylight tomorrow morning. Yep. And then we're going to go to a place where I know, and I'm going to haul them out in the woods. And we will not be able to take the wheels any further than the main road. Hence the sled here, because I'll be hunting more or less a mile from the main road. So I'll have to sled out the game on this, then put it on the wheels, and then bring it another mile or so back to camp if they don't happen to pick it up. So that's the plan for tomorrow. Up before daylight, go out there and get some beasties.
This is our first setup on Cumberland Island. And we are up a pine tree. And we're looking out over pine and oak and palmettos. And it is now about 10:30. And all morning I have heard one shot. Well, that means 2 things. Either the deer and hogs are not moving, or there are a few hunters in the woods. And in fact, both are true. On this hunt, there were only between 20 and 30 hunters who showed up. Wow. So that's less than half the number that usually do. And so we very well have the run of the island practically to ourselves. This is pretty much something like a private hunt. I mean, like the whole island is ours for 3 days. So we went in and looked for one of our favorite places, but did not find it in the dark. And in fact, just set up. And the place we're at is not bad. I mean, you have 4 or 5 trails coming in, and there are oaks, and they are dropping acorns. But there's no sign of recent activity in here. And there's a predominance of pine forest around me. So I'm going to go down and strike this stand and see if I can find an area now that I can see with some more active sign. We're at our second setup in Cumberland for the first day's hunt. and I moved to an area where we have now more oak trees. And I found an area similar to what I was looking for. So you have oaks and open vistas. And of course, there's my pine tree. And looking out, more oaks, and immediately below me and gun, you have an old swale, an old wet weather area that was flooded enough that nothing would grow there, but it's drying out now. And those green things there are actually longleaf pine seedlings. So this is a much better area than I was at. This has been our setup for the second day on Cumberland Island. We have some open areas here. We have more behind us. And we have a little dry pond over to our left. Now, we have not had particularly good luck. We had horses come through, 2 pair. We had armadillo come through, but no deer and no hogs. There have been only 2 shots fired all day that I could hear, so no one else is seeing much either. So I'm going to go ahead and move from here. We're about 3 miles away from camp, and I'm going to relocate to another area about a half a mile away for the last day of the hunt. So we're going to pick up and sort of slowly poke our way out of here. What I'd like to talk to you about today is how we older guys can hunt and hunt by ourselves. Well, I am 73 now, and I'm not the guy I was at 37. When you grow older, your muscles are not as strong as they once were. Your body parts don't want to act right. You stiffen up. Your joints are weak. You don't have the agility you used to, etc., etc., etc. All right, but nonetheless, I hunt. And how do we manage? Well, we do things like using this tub here. You notice I have a lightweight tree stand in there, which weighs about 6 pounds. It's fully caged. You don't actually have to use a safety harness with it, although I use one, and I also use it to pull this sled. Now, this sled not only makes it convenient to pull things like my deer stand, it also is extremely convenient for pulling beasties out. With the sled, I can even cut up and quarter an animal and put the parts in there and not have to worry about the weight of the hide, the head, and the hooves and the other stuff that I don't eat. So we can process the animal largely and put it in there and have much less to haul out if necessary. Or I can put these smallish deer and hogs in there without any problem. This was brought to the jumping off place of the wilderness area where no wheels are allowed by a wheeled deer carrier that I have from Cabela's. Now, this was also very useful in bringing my camp stuff from the dock up to where I have my camp. I'm going to go and relocate this stand somewhat closer to camp, and I'll show you the wheeled deer cart and how we had it loaded up. Well, now you see the tub with the Coat Super Walker unloaded, as it must be now that we're on the main road, and it's now sitting in the deer carrier. Okay, there's a front, back, and now we give you a side view. Now, just as before, my tree stand will fit inside the tub, so everything nests very, very nicely, and this rolls like lickety-split on these roads. Sure, the only problem is when you hit a tree root. Now, that gets a little jarring, but otherwise, yeah, this is by far the easiest way to move stuff on these roads. And what I'm going to do is now go look and see if I can find a place to set up for tomorrow morning, because I still haven't heard a shot. Absolutely nothing is happening in the woods, so I feel pretty safe about doing this.
You see coming along here what was quaintly during the Depression called a Hoover hog, which is, of course, an armadillo. And this is as close as I got to seeing a live hog. We saw several, but no hogs and no deer. This is Hovey's Outdoor Adventures. And I'm talking to Jill Jaworski at the Cumberland Island National Seashore, where we're now in the midst of a hog and a deer hunt. Jill, how long have these hunts been going on?
For at least the last 30 years.
All right. Now, I know I've been at least on 10 of them, so it's been a long time.
Yes.
And usually we come and we camp out and we take deer and hogs, and this has been, in recent times, an unusual hunt in that a variety of different arms are allowed. For example, black powder, yes. Handguns, yes. Crossbows, yes. Archery equipment, yeah. So you use any of this unusual stuff out here on these hunts for these deer and hogs. And you know what the best part is? How many of these critters can you take?
As many as you want.
All right. No game limits, guys. Go get them. Well, on this particular hunt, things have not fared quite so well. How many participants did we have?
We had 31 participants this year.
Okay. Now, of the 31, I took a little poll, and only one was, well, none won to 30 years old. The great majority were in 50 and 65, and I think I'm the oldest hunter at 73. We're getting to be an aging demographic. Now, an unusual aspect of this hunt is that we tromp out in the woods in these selected areas on foot.
Correct.
And it is from here, where we are at hunt camp, up to Table Point, about 2.5 miles. And if you went all the way, my, that's got to be 10 to 12 miles, is it not?
The whole distance is approximately 12 miles.
Okay.
The entire wilderness area is what you can hunt.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So, now there's another hunt camp here at Brick Hill, which is a primitive camp. Now, right here in the main camp, we have all sorts of nice features. There's a cooler right over there. There's a shower and bathroom in here, and everything is jam up and ship shape. So, yeah, even an ice machine over here. This is the only one in Georgia I know that has an ice machine on it, and probably because it's a federal thing rather than a state. Ma'am, how many hunts do you have per year?
There are 6 managed hunts every year.
Very well. Now, there are 2 combination weapon deer hog hunts, one in November and one in December usually.
Correct.
And then you have some later hog hunts in January, I believe. How many?
The 2 hunts in January are hog only and
Okay.
modern weapons.
Yes. So then you can bring your modern guns out here and get on these hogs. Now, speaking of getting on these hogs, I ain't been doing very well. As a matter of fact, in 3 days, how many critters have we got?
3 hogs and 3 deer.
32 hunters for 3 days.
Yes, sir.
And these are guys who've been out there since 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, you see a string of lights going out there in the woods at 4 a.m. Blah, 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 blah. So they get on their stands at daylight. And some of them stay out there all day. So this is not a party, play poker, and drink kind of hunt camp. I mean, these people are out there hunting. But if you want a wonderful experience to come out and hunt in some of the most beautiful areas of North America, in a habitat with Spanish moss, humunga oak trees, wild horses, and other things, alligators, and a few snakes, Cumberland Island is a place to go. Now, how does a person sign up for a hunt?
Here you would go to a website called pay.gov. All the instructions are on there. You register for the hunt. You then need to contact the ferry company if you want to bring the ferry over, or you can bring a private boat to either of the 2 camps. And that's all you need to do. And you have to have a valid Georgia hunting license.
Yes, ma'am. Now, the unusual thing about this is to sign up for a hunt in the state of Georgia with the federal government, because this is a federally managed facility. So www.pay.gov. And if you should forget this, you can look in any copy of Georgia state regulations under Cumberland Island, and it will give you that information too. So that's how you sign up for the hunt. Now, these hunts have not been filled, and are not being filled, and need to be filled. particularly by some younger guys. So, well, you guys are real go-getters who want to come out here and do something really unusual. Now, these are some hunts to sign up with. Well, thanks very much, Jim.
You're welcome.
This is one of Georgia's few surviving shrimping boats. The industry is dead because they cannot shrimp in onshore waters anymore in order to protect the redfish. Now, the guys in the red boat are actually going after oysters. And here we are at the dock, and we're loading out to go home. And on our trip back, we passed the Kings Bay Naval Station, and there are two vessels in port, including the Black Powder, as you heard.
Sort of prophetic to pass them since we've been on a black powder hunt.
And we are now returning to St. Mary's, Georgia. There you see the dock where we're going to be. And some of our miscellaneous gear down on the front of the boat. Most tour boats don't look quite like this when they come back from their tours, but of course ours, being hunters, yeah, we got a lot of stuff to carry around.
Goodbye, God bless, and see you next time.
My forthcoming book, Profit, examined the premise that there is no human condition that cannot be turned to profit by an inventive mind, and how you can use your own creative instincts to start a $1 million or even $1 billion business. And I give many examples, some of which can be taken to patent immediately that you can use. And I have 2 videos out on the subject very shortly. Now, the custom work on the Super Walker was done by Dykes Reber of North Little Rock, Arkansas, with a matte nitride finish by H&M Metal Processing of Akron, Ohio, and the holster by Badlands Leather of Newell, South Dakota. Now, the Super Walker started as a Uberti kit, and I have a series of videos about that. Now, the cost of this hunt is $35 paid to the government when you register, and another $35 about for the ferry trip, which could change, and a Georgia resident or non-resident license. Now, to hear more, go to my website. Goodbye, and God bless.